since no one seems to want to make any predictions for the second half of the final season of Better Call Saul, I thought I'd do a video.
Bog Panda.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Bog Panda. I'm Kelly at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be doing this show solo tonight because, well, Dr. Mike, why don't you tell him?
I hate these people. Whatever happens to them happens to them.
All right. Well, he can have that kind of attitude. I'm super excited for these final episodes of Better Call Saul. It's been such a fantastic show. As we get started, a couple things. One, massive spoilers. Anyway, all the way up to these final episodes of Better Call Saul. If you haven't watched them, I'll be spoiling a lot of stuff through there and guessing what's going to happen in these last ones. Also, as I'm making these predictions today, I've not looked at any leaked material. I've not looked at any previews of episodes for this season. I haven't had any access to that. So I'm doing this completely on my own. I have watched a few Better Call Saul YouTube channels where people do some predictions and some things they're thinking, and that's got me thinking some too, but I kind of came up with these on my own. So we're going to get started, and we're going to talk about Howard, Kim, Lalo, and Jimmy/Gene/Saul all there. So let's just get started. Howard. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, isn't Howard's deal already done? But we got to know his fate. Well, we know Howard's fate, but we don't know the fate of Howard's body. And so it's going to be interesting to see. And I think that this is one that's going to have, will obviously get resolved pretty quick, probably in this first episode that is going to air. And so got a couple guesses there, some thoughts. So obviously the scenarios are Lalo leaves, says, hey, it's your problem, figure it out. Lalo leaves and he gives them some advice on what to do. Or Lalo compels them to help them get rid of Howard's body. I don't see how Lalo is being a helper, so I don't think he's going to do anything with them. I think he may offer some helpful suggestions in terms of getting rid of Howard's body. And if I were to guess how they were going to do that, they're going to have to try and make it look like a suicide. I don't know exactly how they're going to pull it off, but somehow they're going to have to make this look like Howard did this to himself. It's going to be tricky because the gun and ballistics won't match up. If Lalo doesn't leave his gun, which I find highly unlikely. So maybe somehow the car's got to burn too, or something's got to happen to do it. But I think they're going to stage it so that it appeared that Howard took his own life and do something enough that they can't figure out the ballistics to do it. And I don't think the bullet's still there based on the blood spatter on the painting. So we'll have to see. But I'm kind of going with Lalo may give them a tip or two, so you might want to take rid of their body. Here's some suggestions and book out. So we shall see. So that covers Howard. Lalo. Lalo is my favorite character on my favorite Breaking Bad character show. He's been so awesome, such a charming, evil villain. I just love Tony Dalton's performance. It's just amazing. Super, super fun. What's going to happen to Lalo? Well, we all saw the stuff with Gus down in the super lab, looking at the light, pacing things out, storing a gun. So I think that kind of leads us to, and then these writers are awful sharp. So I don't know, they may be leading us down this road to take us on a big turn, but I kind of think this is a helping us along for what's going to happen, which will be at some point, Lalo's going to confront Gus saying, I know about what you've got here. And Gus is going to be like, yep, you've got me. Matter of fact, let's go down and look at it so you can kind of see everything I've got and we can talk more about it there. And Lalo will be a little skeptical and Gus will say, look, I'm unarmed. Lalo will likely be armed and we'll have to go down. So they'll go down there and then Gus is going to kick out the lights one way or another so that it's black and make his way to the gun and then probably turn the lights back on and take Lalo out would be my guess. Now, a couple ways he's going to take him out. One, he may wound him like he did that animal that ate the trees that he planted when he was a young child and just watch him suffer out. And so we may get a repeat of that story where Lalo's down in the super lab slowly dying a very painful death. or he may take him out entirely just at that point. But this is where I'm trying to piece some things together. So I've heard some things in past from the writers and the producers and show creators around you'll never be able to look at Breaking Bad the same after the end of Better Call Saul. So how could that happen? Well, one way that could happen is that if we all know after the end of Better Call Saul that Lalo's body is buried somewhere in the super lab, in the foundation, in one of the walls. I'm kind of going for a wall. Lalo's kind of cemented into a wall. And so then when we see any super lab scene in Breaking Bad, we're going to know, hey, behind that wall is Lalo. So I think that that's a chance. And I haven't heard a lot of people predict that, but that's the one I feel kind of the best about. It's a guess, but I'll be super happy if it's the right guess. But my guess is Lalo dies either slowly or quickly in the super lab, and then his final resting place is actually inside the super lab. Oh, one other thing about Lalo. The reason I think he's dead is that there's no way Gus would be as chill as he is in Breaking Bad if Lalo Salamanca was still around. Kim Wexler. Oh my, another fantastic actress. Ray Seahorn's so awesome. Fantastic character, complex character, tough character to get a read on entirely. It's hard to kind of know, her heart's in the right place. She wants to do the right things, but she goes about it completely the wrong ways a lot of times to do it. And she does seem to have there's some other engine driving her all the time. And she's got a lot of slipping Jimmy in her as well. And maybe even a more cutthroat slipping Jimmy than Jimmy. But when I think about Kim, I have to think about Jimmy /Saul /Gene, because, well, at least Saul, in that in the Breaking Bad series, if Kim meets a really unfortunate end, I can't imagine that doesn't hang over Saul in some way. And we see none of that. He is blissfully fine to be doing what he's doing, suggesting taking people out. And if Kim had gotten taken out, I just think that might bring up old wounds for him. So I just don't think Kim is dead, because I just don't think the Saul character would be as carefree as the Saul character is if that had happened to Kim. Now, Kim and Jimmy are likely, my guess is, not on the greatest terms when this all ends. But I can't imagine them being on such bad terms that he'd be indifferent to her passing. Because he's not really ultimately, I think, indifferent to Chuck's passing, although he would give every indication he is. I think way deep down, it does bother him, largely because he's largely responsible for it. But, and he certainly would have to bear that blame here if Kim goes because of some of this affiliation. So I don't think she dies. I do think somehow there is a schism between the two, and that at least the trusting, loving relationship that they have is no more. I don't think they end up hating each other, but I also think they end up clearly, we're not going to be together anymore. So a couple things there. Kim takes the fall for something. That could be a piece of it. She could go back to her hometown and marry that gas station attendant and do that type of thing, and just kind of fade into the woodwork that way. It just seems like she needs to have somewhat of a significant end. Now, I guess coming back to Howard's body, maybe another path is she could take the fall for Howard, killing Howard, but that seems like super unlikely. So I wouldn't go that way. I would, so I think between the combination of her not telling Jimmy that Lalo is still alive, or steps that she needs to take on here's the next things we need to do for Howard, and basically Jimmy and Kim will start to separate. I know there's a lot of folks that say no, in the Breaking Bad timeline, Kim's just sitting at home in Casa de Goodman, pulling all the strings still. But I can't buy that, because I just think about, Saul and the look at that booty with Francesca and some things there. I just don't think, and his visits from the massage folks, all that in his office, I just don't think he's got Kim at home with him as a partner anymore. So I don't think she's at Casa de Goodman. I think she's maybe at her hometown or disappeared, because we're going to get to the disappearer information is coming into the Goodman network one way or another, and Kim may be the first person that takes advantage of it. And she does find some way for Jimmy and her to still stay in contact, going back to that callback about there's a call every year on Jimmy's birthday at 3:00. You kind of think that's Kim. So she's disappeared. She's somewhere else, and she's getting a hold of him. So I think they're going to kind of have a separation and kind of recognize that they can't really be together anymore. And then she's going to maybe do something to kind of as Kim Wexler to take a fall for something, but then Kim Wexler is no longer there because Kim Wexler's been disappeared. So I kind of see her doing something to kind of get Jimmy in the clear and them going to disappear from there. So we shall see. And so finally, we need to talk about really the bookends of Saul Goodman because we kind of get Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad and Gene's post Breaking Bad and Jimmy's pre Breaking Bad. So while Jimmy is 87% Saul Goodman, he's not all the way there yet. There's still that, he occasionally shows regret. He occasionally gets concerned, where in Breaking Bad, the only time Saul rethought something was when he thought it wouldn't work. And it's just like, I don't think that's going to work. It had nothing to do with the morality or the impact on people. It was all about, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Does this work out? And with his expertise at schemes and trickery, he's a good judge of those types of things. But he didn't seem to ever discount something due to morality reasons. So what squeezes that last little bit of good out of Jimmy? And there has to be that happens in these final episodes. I think it's somehow how he and Kim end up needing to be separate, that really makes him go, fine, I'm in this on my own. I'm going to just totally embrace who I am. And this is who I am. And this is what I'm going to do. So I think the Kim relationship thing is the turn. I don't think it's because the Kim relationship ends because she dies. I certainly hope not. I just think they either amicably decide we got to separate, or more likely they have a conflict and it's like, we're not together anymore. So that's the piece there. So that, I think it's the departure of Kim that fully converts Jimmy to Saul. So then we go to Gene. And so we've seen a lot of the cab driver, recast cab driver, but we've seen a lot of the cab driver. And, recently in the show, we had Jimmy indicate that he was going to take care of this himself in terms of the cab driver. And based on the trailers and things we've seen, we're being led to believe Jimmy's going to attempt to pay this cab driver off and tell him, don't come back again. Don't get greedy. And that would make sense, but it seems like too on the nose, to kind of for them to completely serve that up. So I'm guessing that don't come back again, don't be greedy is not directed at the cab driver. I probably am wrong on that, but I'm still going to stick it out and say that that's the way I don't think it's going to play out from there. But I do think he is going to make it very clear to the cab driver that messing with him is going to have dire consequences. I don't think he's going to kill the cab driver, but I do think he is going to do something to kind of like the whole Walter White, there's hitmen that I've paid are going to keep an eye on you. He's going to come up with something elaborate to let the cab driver know, to say, if you mess with me, if you do anything like to surface me to the authorities, I'm going to take you out. And he'll do that. And so that's my guess. And then over time, kind of just eventually coming to the realization that, you know what, I want to be Saul Goodman one more time. And so he's going to turn himself in and defend himself. And probably not successfully would be my guess. Is that, a fool is his own client from a lawyer perspective, but I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to want one last chance to be who he was and to do what he does and to find some ways to explain his involvement, that it wasn't really, he didn't know, whatever, in the usual Saul Goodman magician kind of way, possibly being successful enough that he gets a smaller sentence than he should in terms of that. And we'll have to see. And then, so my guess again is he's going to do that. He's going to be convicted. and somehow Kim visits him in jail. And that's where we're going to get after all this a happy ending kind of thing. So that's a big guess. These writers are so much better than I am at coming up with a good way to land this thing. So I'd be interested in hearing from you what your thoughts are. Dr. Mike, are you interested?
I hate these people. Whatever happens to them, happens to them.
I guess not. So but I am interested. So if you get a chance, go ahead and jump into the comment sections of this video and leave your predictions. Let me know if you agree with any of mine, if you think they're all wrong, if you've got better ideas, and we're all going to find out together. So exciting times, looking forward to it. Thanks for watching.